Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to Kottabos Space Program, where today we are having a look at yet another wonderful mod, this time in the form of FASTCORP Autogarage, which is being made by forum user FASTCORP. And what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is a selection of real-life cars for you and your Kerbals to enjoy, and I've been having a lot of fun with this, though it's not entirely truthful, as, the tagline for this mod is real cars for KSP, but that's not entirely true. Now, is it, mod maker FASTCORP? As, of course, out of the currently 10 different cars added in by this mod pack, only 8 of them are real. 2 of them are not. I mean, granted, they actually have been built as, like, props at different points, but they're not a vehicle you can just go to a car dealership and purchase, no matter how much I wish it was so. And, in fact, out of the cars added in by this mod, the 2 non-real ones are 2 of my favorites. So let's just jump right on into the spaceplane hangar and have a look at what all is added in by this mod. Now, unfortunately, as with so many other mods out there, there's nothing in the search bar I can type to get all of the parts, so I have gone and made a custom group down here where you will find the 10 different car bodies in this mod, as well as 10 different wheels, each one corresponding to one of the car bodies, which is quite nice. I do like that. And we'll start up at the top and work our way down. Now, a lot of the stats on these vehicles are pretty similar, only a few minor differences like crew capacity, maximum horsepower, etc. So I'm kind of going to breeze through a lot of the stats. I'm sure you guys will be fine with that. So the first vehicle we have is the 1983 Gmc Vandura, which if we pop there and zoom in, is, you know, the lovely A-Team van. Or is it? Because, of course, a lot of these cars, not all of them, but a lot of them, you do actually have the ability to change the paint color. So you can either go with the whole A-Team vibe, or go Mystery Machine. And I kind of love this because I now have this beautiful imagined series in my head of, you know, Scooby-Doo, but with Kerbals. Someone on the internet make that a thing, please. That would be wonderful. But yes, as for the vehicle itself, it does require a minimum of 1 crew member to operate, but can hold up to 6 as well. It's a freaking van, and it does produce its own electricity, consuming about 6.6 liquid fuel per minute, and will produce that electric charge and also horsepower, which is a custom sort of resource added in here that I'll talk more about when we're actually driving these things outside later. It does also have a light, a reaction wheel, a crew report science experiment, electric charge, the liquid fuel, and, of course, the horsepower, which this one has a maximum of 18 horsepower. And yes, that's pretty much similar stats to all the rest of the vehicles, so I'm going to basically ignore all of these things right in here for the rest of them. Now, as for the tire on this thing, the fun stat for this one, as again, the stress tolerance on a lot of these are similar. This one's 3,000, others are usually around the 900 stress tolerance mark. But what is different on a lot of these is the maximum speed. Now, this particular one for this van is 40 meters per second. Which really, honestly, anything above 20 meters per second with any of these vehicles gets a bit wonky because they're not exactly the most controllable of vehicles, I'll be honest. Well, most of them at least. One of them actually has really, really good handling, but we'll talk more about that later. Now, as for the wheels, one thing I do have to mention is if you just grab the wheels straight out of the parts list and pop it onto the car, it's not gonna work. These have, I believe, a custom collider is why this happens, but if you just pop it straight onto the vehicle, when you start the game or go to Launchpad, that tire is going to be about halfway into the ground and is going to be non-functional as an actual tire. So what you need to do is grab it out of the parts list and then hit S. The S key will turn it ever so slightly. As you can see, the text on the wheel is now on the side instead of on the top and bottom, and that will allow you to know that that wheel is going to be fine. So you just got to hit S once, and you're good to go. And then, of course, once you do that, you can hit Control to copy it and just flip it around for the other side, and you're good to go. But just remember, hit S once, or else your wheel's going to be halfway into the ground, and no one wants that. Now let's hit new and go to the next vehicle, which is one of my favorite vehicles in this entire mod pack, and in fact, one of my favorite vehicles in the real world that I wish I could afford, and that's the Ariel Atom. God, I want one of these things in real life, but I don't think I'd ever be able to buy one. And this is a very, very cool car. Not only is it beautifully textured and modeled, let's bring this thing down a little bit more, there we go, but also is a very interesting one as far as the cars in this mod pack go. Now, this is the only one that functions like this. All the others are command pods. You build it, you put some Kerbals in it, you're good to go. This one, though, is a command seat, technically. If I just hit launch right now, we're going to get the warning that says, oh no, there's no control because we can't actually put a Kerbal in this thing. You actually have to either build some contraption to have like a command pod over here, get a Kerbal out to walk over here and get in, or drive another car over, exit a passenger, and right-click on the car to enter the command chair. Because, yeah, it works like a command chair rather than an actual capsule. So it's a little bit weird, but it kind of makes sense because it is the only true convertible in this mod pack. So, you know, you want to see your Kerbal when, you know, you have a convertible car. So you actually physically have to get a Kerbal into this thing, which is a little strange, but overall works out quite nicely, and it's a fun car to drive around, one of the better at handling, and with a max horsepower on this baby of 24. Now, it can fit, of course, 2 Kerbals, one in each seat, which is always handy. Now, for the wheel in this thing, it has a max speed of 75 meters per second, and if we just pop that baby on there, a very nice looking wheel. And yeah, at 75 meters per second with this thing and max speed, it's it's fast. Don't try to turn at 75 meters per second. I did it, and the car rolled for about a good solid minute before finally exploding. Good times. Yes, on to the next vehicle now. We have the Alfa Romeo. Now, this is another one that if we zoom in, we can change the color scheme on, and you have a variety of different racing versions as well as just solid color versions of this Alfa Romeo, which is always quite convenient. Now, it has a maximum crew capacity of 2, as it is just a 2-seater, which is odd. I mean, you could get a couple of people in the back of one of those things, but yeah, I'm not going to complain. Now, the maximum horsepower on this particular one, if I could get the darn stats to stay, is 24 horsepower. The maximum speed is 62 meters per second, and again, a lovely custom wheel for this particular design. Very nice, all fits together quite well. Ooh, and I actually should mention that I haven't said yet, all these cars have custom interiors, and they're beautiful. The steering wheel even functions on some of them. I'll show that off later. Okay, now the next vehicle we have in question, if we go to new, is a Corvette C4 1984, and there we are. Now again, we have a variety of colors we can put for this baby, and it is a maximum of 2 crew inside of it, and it does have a max of 24 horsepower. The wheel for it has a max speed, again, of 62 meters per second, and I think for a lot of these remaining ones, that's going to be a pretty common feature, but there we go. Custom wheel, beautifully made. I do enjoy it. Now, the next one we have is the first of the fake / non-real cars, a Delorean time machine. Now, of course, the Delorean itself was a real car, but there's no such thing as an actual DeLorean time machine, so I count it as fake. But still, I love this thing. It is just so beautifully made. Look at the detailing on this. It is absolutely gorgeous. The interior especially is just so freaking cool. I really do like it. And because of how low and wide this thing is, it is definitely by far the easiest of all the cars to handle. This thing is quite good at sticking to the ground. Now, it has a max of 2 crew that can hold a maximum horsepower of 24, and again, a max speed of 62 meters per second, and it's beautiful. Now let's go to the next vehicle. We have a Ford F-150 Sports Edition, which again, lower down, zoom in, and once more we have a variety of different colors we can make this baby, and it can hold a total of 4 crew in this one, which is quite nice, and I believe this one has a TV in the back, always good for those, you know, bothersome Kerbals you put in the back seat. It has a maximum horsepower, I suddenly forgot the word momentarily, of 24. The tire, again, is 62 meters per second. And let's pop that on. Very nicely made. Very well done. The next vehicle we have is a Jeep Wrangler, which, again, this one actually does not have different color schemes. Oh, that's sad. I was hoping it would. I hadn't paid attention to that one. Does have, of course, our lovely wheel. Come on. Holding control, not taking. Did I forget to do the thing? Ah, that one is the reverse of the others. Most of them default over to this side. That one seems to default to that side. Okay, fair enough. I hadn't noticed that before, but this one has a max speed of only 40 meters per second. And the max horsepower, again, forgetting the word, is back down to 18 horsepower. So, you know, not the most amazingly fast of vehicles, but it works quite well. The next one we have in the line is the Lamborghini. That's a fun one. And there we go. It, of course, does have a multitude of different paint schemes, as with many of the others. Beautiful. Of course, we need to make it an annoying Lamborghini yellow. That works. Yes, very good. And this particular one has the maximum horsepower of 24, so we're back up to that speed. And this one has a max speed of 85. Again, don't turn at max speed, you're going to die. But overall, a very cool, good-looking car. The next one we have in line is one of my favorites on here, the Land Rover Defender. I always love a good Land Rover. And here we are in place. Now, it has, scrolling down, 18 horsepower, and the wheels on this one a max speed of 62. And we do, of course, have a variety of colors for whatever you feel like that day. And the final vehicle is the other of the fake / not real cars, and that's the Mach 5. Oh, I like it. Who doesn't want the Mach 5 sitting around and driving around, rather? Now, this baby, oh god, hold on, going back down, has a maximum horsepower of 24 again, and a max speed of 62. And, again, has a very cool interior. It's a little hard to see because of how low it is, but you know what? It works well as a vehicle, and who doesn't want to drive the freaking Mach 5? Oh, yeah, and I hadn't noticed this earlier, but the, our flag is the license plate. Very nice indeed. But yes, let us actually go and look at the interiors of these things with a monstrosity that I built called All Interiors. And I think I may actually need to grab more Kerbals from the command center. Oh yeah, I just slapped them all together. I don't think we can fill everyone. I don't think I grabbed enough Kerbals beforehand. No, I did not. Okay, hold on one moment. Let's grab all these guys. Good thing we're in Sandbox, so that would have cost me a lot of money then. There we go, and we go to launch to check out all these individual interiors and show you just how freaking cool they are. Though I'm going to have to point out right off the bat, they are kind of dark, because I guess all of them have tinted windows, technically. But let's look at the van first here, the Vandura. And if we go into here, it is a lovely interior. As you can see, we got a lot of good detailing all over the place. And what's really fun is some of the things work. Like the lights here, we can hit that and the lights come on. We can actually turn the key here on the steering column, and this actually turns on the engine, because it's an interesting way. You actually physically have to turn on the engine. You don't just hit space in staging. So you actually turn the key and the engine is now on. Turn it off and it is off. And what's fun, if I try to turn, notice the wheel turns. I mean, technically, it goes between two different preset animations, but you know what? It works, and I'm happy. And now, how it's doing this is by using raster prop monitor, and it has basically just custom pieces in there for the different dials. So, like, these gauges in here work. The speedo, the fuel gauge, etc., all work in these vehicles. And, of course, the fun steering wheel. Kind of jerky motion, but you know what? It works out quite nicely. There we go. We have, oh, no, did not mean to go to that one. So there we are. We are at the back of the van now. Excellent. In the second row of seating, and then in the third row, or no, still second row, and then finally third row of seating back here. Now the next vehicle is the Alfa Romeo here, and kind of tight. You're right up against the steering wheel in this thing, but again, we have the cool gauges which do function, which is so freaking cool. I don't know where the the key is on this one. I haven't been able to find that yet, but I think it's here somewhere, maybe. Not all the cars have functioning gauges, nor do all the cars actually have keys you can turn, but I'm actually wondering if maybe like that button there? I don't know. I'll have to try that, play around later. But a very nice Alfa Romeo interior. Now the next one we have is the Corvette. A much more futuristic looking thing. We are actually missing the steering wheel in here, as you can see. We do have the key though, so we can turn that, but no actual steering wheel, which is amusing. And yeah, just a nice old Corvette body. What was this, 84, I believe? Yes, here's the other seat for the Corvette, and then we are in the Delorean, and look at all this beautiful detailing. Yes, I love it. I love it so much. It's beautiful. Now on this one, I don't oh, actually, no, I think the gauges do work. As you can see, we got the low-res dial back there, and then the what looks like a higher res sort of line. But I'm not 100% sure if it does work on this one. But yes, a lovely interior for the DeLorean. A very cool indeed. We next have the Ford Explorer, or no, Ford F-150. There we are. This one does not have working gauges yet. As you can see, it's still quite low res. But yes, built Ford tough? Question mark. All right, we do have the back seat, and yes, this did have the TV. Unfortunately, doesn't work, but you know, put Jebediah in the back, I'm sure he'd amuse himself. There we go, the other seat here. And then we have the Jeep. Yep, this is the Jeep again, missing steering wheel. Not done entirely on all of these. The second seat, and then the back seat for the Jeep. As you can tell, with all their helmets on, it gets a little bit tight in here, but oh well, not too bad. We then have the Lambo. Alright, look at this beautiful interior on this thing. Again, I can't find the key in this one. I don't know if it's actually here, or if it's someplace weird. But, yeah, Lamborghini. Who wouldn't want this? And here's the second seat for it. Very nice. We then have the Land Rover Defender, and now this one has very nicely working gauges there. Very cool indeed, and just a beautiful interior. I do quite enjoy it, the second seat. And then, of course, finally, the Mach 5. We do have the wonderful gauges here. We have some minor clipping issues with that front part of the car. I don't know what the proper word for that is, but yeah, a little bit of weird clipping. And, of course, the second seat for it. And that is all of the interiors. Now let us actually revert flight back to the spaceplane hangar, and we're gonna get out an Ariel Atom because I have a DeLorean sitting nearby the track, so we can actually get a Kerbal in that thing to take a look at it. So let us load the Ariel Atom, and of course this is going to load up without any control whatsoever because you can't have a Kerbal on it. Now, of course, you could probably stick a command pod to it somewhere or someplace. Oh god, I can't even turn on the brake because we have literally no control. Alright, but we should be able to go to, yes, perfect, our DeLorean sitting right next to the runway. And what you have to do to actually control these cars, well, of course, is turn off the brake. Now, if you have the key, you can turn the key inside, or you go to right-click and you need to actually turn on the engine. Now, as long as the engine is on, it will constantly consume fuel, even if you aren't moving. So it's a little bit awkward, because, well, of course, as with a normal Rover, you're not using electricity, but it is a car. Even while idling, you are using gas. So you turn on, and as you can see, we are draining fuel even though I'm going nowhere. But other than that, you control it like a normal Rover, and like I said, this one is one of my favorite because, well, not only is it a freaking DeLorean, and DeLoreans are awesome, but also it is by far one of the most controllable. It does feel a little bit like you're on ice with these vehicles, but if you do mess around with the friction and traction control on these, you can get them feeling a lot better. But as it stands right now, if you just leave them on auto, it does feel quite a bit like they are on ice. But let's actually try and stop this thing. Okay, there we go. There we go. Hold on. Okay, I bumped it a little bit too hard. Okay, it's going backwards now. Oh, Lord. I didn't do this well. I didn't do this well at all. Alright, let's go over here. Oh, too fast. And there we are. Lovely. Let's get this guy out. And quick, run to the Ariel Atom. Oh, God, he's getting stuck on the DeLorean. Alright, so what you have to do to actually drive this baby is, of course, get close to it and then click and board. And beautiful. Am I in the right seat? I am. Excellent. So there we go. We have the Ariel Atom with a Kerbal right in the command seat, and that is a beautiful sight to behold. Now, admittedly, it probably should be Jebediah in there, but what are you going to do? I only had so many options, so let us turn on the engine, and I'm going to talk more about the horsepower. Notice right now, if we actually brake, we have nothing in the horsepower bar. It is 0 of 24. Now, when we turn on the engine, the horsepower fills up, and if we turn off our brake and start throttling up, hitting W, the horsepower drains, and as we let go of the horsepower, it will fill back up. But you'll notice once we're up to speed, it barely uses any horsepower to continue to accelerate. Oh, dear Lord. Oh, we're gonna crash. We're gonna roll. Yep, we're rolling. I tried to turn ever so slightly, and there goes my Kerbal. Yeah, so once you're up to speed, it really doesn't use much of the horsepower, but as you're initially accelerating, that horsepower can drop down quite low. And if it goes all the way to nothing, it'll sort of stall out the car a bit. You'll have to sort of get back up to speed. Now, again, once you are going fast, it's pretty easy to maintain that speed. Just could potentially be a bit hard to get up to speed. Now, God, can we actually flip this thing? Oh, Lord, we went right through it. What the heck? It has colliders normally. Oh, now that's interesting, because it does have colliders when it's on the ground. Oh, we can even climb up on it. Oh, that's not good. Board. Oh, yep, we can't get in. Well, that one's busted. Okay, going to another vehicle now. I have a lovely little setup of other cars over here. So we have the Lamborghini, the Mach 5, a Land Rover Defender, and an Alfa Romeo right there. All quite nice. So if we turn on the engine here, yeah, I tried to turn ever so slightly to correct ourselves, but I held it for too long. That is something you definitely have to learn with this particular mod, is how to control these vehicles, because they definitely like to take off on you very quickly, especially these faster cars like, say, the Lamborghini or the Ariel Atom. They really just want to get up and go, and so you really have to tap things. Even if you go to the fine-tuned controls, it's gonna... oh boy, it's going to take some learning to actually control these things quite nicely. Now, like I said, ones like the Delorean do go quite a bit better. They handle a lot more smoothly. I don't have as many problems with them flipping on me. But a lot of these other vehicles, you do. Let's see if we can knock this baby over. Okay, come on. All right, and boom. Oh, I squished the Kerbal. Well, I made it worse. I've killed a Kerbal. Quick, cheese it. There we go. And as you can see, this baby can get up to speed quite good. Lord, I hit the button to turn. So as you can see, it takes a little learning to control these babies right. Let's go to another car. Ah, the Mach 5. Beautiful. I should probably go back to the DeLorean. It's the one car I have yet to flip in this mod pack. The rest of them flip very easily. So I don't know, maybe they need a little bit more work on things. Maybe the wheels need tweaking or something. I'm not entirely sure, but overall, you know what? I've still had a lot of fun with this thing. Especially with, as I said, the DeLorean is by far my favorite of the vehicles, not only for its control, but also because it is a freaking DeLorean. The rest of the cars are quite nice as well, and as long as you keep it slow, as long as you keep it below 20 meters per second, they actually do control pretty darn nicely. It's just when you get up to speed, it is like driving on a bed of ice. Or bed of ice? Does that make sense? Lake, ice, lake, river? Oh Lord, I don't know, guys. I don't know. My brain is dying now that I've flipped two cars trying to show this thing off. But yes, as long as you go slow, even the wonkiest of cars like the Jeep is the one that I've rolled over by far the most, will actually stay together pretty nicely. Just watch it at higher speeds. But yeah, that is the FASTCORP Autogarage mod. If you would like to check this out for yourself, and I definitely would say to go and have a try, because, well, it's fun and entertaining. And you know what? If you land a ship close by the Kerbal Space Center, you could go and pick up your Kerbals in style in an Alfa Romeo or a Lamborghini, whatever your heart desires. But yes, that is going to be it for this episode today, my friends. I hope you all have enjoyed, and of course, that you do come back for the next. But until that time, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one. Now, I actually intentionally did that this time. I was hoping to get more rolls out of it as we were closing, but unfortunately, I guess I wasn't fast enough to actually get a good proper roll. Oh well, oh well. Have fun with it, folks, and try not to roll as often as I do. Later!